when you get what you want, when you struggle for self, and the world makes you king for a day, just go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what the man has to say. It isn't your father or mother or wife whose judgment upon you must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in your life is the one staring back at the glass. He's the fellow to please. Don't mind all the rest, for he's with you clear up to the end. And you've passed your most dangerous and difficult test if the man in the glass is your friend. Now you may fool the whole world on your pathway of life and get pats on your back as you pass, but your final reward will be heartache and strife if you've cheated the man in the glass. Fellow Toastmasters, guests, fellow Americans, I cheated myself for 29 years. I looked into the mirror, and the mirror was distorted. I'm here to inspire you to look into the glass and change your heart. Change your direction if it needs to be. Now, I got a little scared a couple of minutes ago when our friend Gerald passed down that little shot glass there. I didn't think my speech was going to be accurate. What happened to me as I was growing up as a child, my mirror got distorted. And like a frog thrown into a boiling pot of water, that gradually got worse and worse and worse without me knowing it. I ended up creating a person that I hated. I ended up creating a person that had a distorted view of the world, a distorted view of you, a distorted view of my family, a distorted view of who I was and where I wanted to go. I lost full connection with reality. I didn't know who I was or where I was going. The distortion made my world dark, very dark. I alienated myself from the family. I alienated myself from the world, from the people around me, my friends. I ended up having nothing and nobody. I created a lost, lonely, scared, liar, cheat, and a thief. And if it was something that I wanted, I'd take it. Didn't matter who you were, what you looked like, what neighborhood you were from, what part of the city you were from. I created a very selfish, self-centered individual. Like the mirror in a circus, I would go to the glass and I'd look at the glass and it was distorted. I'd move this way and it would get bigger. And I'd move this way and I'd be distorted. My view of everything about me and my world was uncivilized. Until one day that mirror that I kept trying to fix physically shattered. And when that mirror shattered, I had no reflection. I had no moral compass. I had no moral guide. It all ended up being about me, myself, and Irene. Me, myself, and Eileen. I put my hope into other things and other substances. And the things that I put in here and up here and through here ruined me. It made me ignorance to prejudice. It made me ignorance to the world. Not because of the color of your skin, not because of where you live, but because you were you. And you were all different. Because it was all about me. There's a great quote by Dr. King. It says, "Let no man pull you low enough to hate them." And at the very end of that, I put a little tag on there for myself. Even yourself. Because if you cannot love yourself, there is no possible way to love other people. And if you have a distorted view of the world, there's no way to clarify what that world is. Or how I'm going to get along with you. How I'm going to be able to communicate with you. And it'll drive you insane. Well, that world of prejudice, ignorance, got me beachfront property in Southern California. I lived in a Datsun B210, a 1976 tri-colored car on the beaches of Port Hueneme, California. If you know where that is, Southern California. I found myself living in this car. I had a great front seat that reclined to a recliner when I pulled the 2x4 that held my seat up. I had 3 different size tires on my car. And my greatest ambition was to eat. And so I'd wait till the evening time when all the beachgoers would go home, and I would have a plethora of a smorgasbord, really. Then one day, with the help of the Ventura County Justice Department, I got accepted into a very unique program. And what this program helped me with was perspective. And I'm going to talk about 2 words today. And you probably know the words. Some of you might know the words. But I'm going to teach you 2 words, and you can jot them down and maybe share them with you. With the help of the Judicial Department and acceptance to a program, for the first time in my life, I learned, first word, responsibility. Responsibility of John. The responsibility that it was up to me to change my life. It was up to me to refocus my prejudice, to refocus my ambitions, to refocus the direction of my life. And through engulfment of different types of folks, with engulfment into books, into reading. The first book that I read, I was 30 years old by the time I read my first book. Changed my life. Changed my life, changed my perspective. And I started on this little road to change. And the most amazing thing happened. When I changed myself, I changed my world. When I changed John, the whole world changed. I couldn't understand that part. The views I had about people, the views I had about work, the views I had about government, the views I had about my city, my community, my family, my friends, those views changed when John changed. And it was the most amazing thing. It put me on a road to happiness, put me on a road to joy, to peace, contentment. It put me on a path where I could be in a room with a pauper or a prince. Doesn't matter where you're from, what you look like, the style of your hair, or if you have no hair. I can relate. I've been down the road. And it taught me responsibility. Something that we, as grown-ups, should be teaching our young children. Responsibility. It is their views. It is their views, the things that we teach them as adults. The things that are going in here, the things that are going up there, and the things that are going in here is going to change their world. It is our job to keep their mirror clean, to keep their glass clean, to help them, to guide them. So when they do take that step, they can refer back to that mirror, to that glass. And they can look at that glass and go, wow, I like that guy. I like that girl. You know what? The world's not that bad. You know what? I can go to the other side of town because I love people. I love folks. Learn acceptance. Break down those walls of prejudice, ignorance that haunts all of us. Responsibility. The next word, it's a great word. Possibility. With responsibility, you have the possibility. The possibility of change. The possibility of growth. The possibility of unification. When I change my heart and I change my life, unification runs in my veins, runs deep down in there. Breaks my heart when I turn the radio on. Breaks my heart when I turn on the paper, when I read the paper. Breaks my heart when I turn on the news. I very seldom go that way anymore. I would rather look in the mirror and know what's in my heart and be able to go and reach out. To be able to go out and give service to my community. To go change the hearts of those young people. To go change the hearts of the government. Change the hearts of my world. Possibility. I remember once when I was really new into my special program, there was a gentleman that came up. He was a 37-year penitentiary member. He was the only guy that really could relate to me. He was the only guy that could pull my bluff and kept telling me, go back to the mirror. Keep shining the mirror. Take the fog off the mirror. Keep shining the mirror. And he said these words that changed my life. He says, beyond your wildest expectations, your life could be. And I didn't know what he was talking about. And he made me sit across from him one day and write down my wildest expectations. The things. And at that time in my life, I wanted 4 of the same size tires. You know what I mean? I didn't want to drive a tri-colored Datsun B210 with a 2x4 that held up my car. You know, I wanted a car to match colors. I mean, very, very little things. And as I wrote down all those superficial things, he said this. He says, I don't see your daughter on there. And she was removed from my life back in those days. Physical custody, mental custody, emotional custody, every kind of custody you could think. She was removed from my life. And I put that down and I said, there's no possible way. Court system already said, you know, I'm unfit to be a father, a person, human being. There's no way. He said, beyond your wildest expectations, your life could be. The possibilities. And I wrote those down. I was able to go get a new mirror. I was able to create a new glass in my life. And I kept that glass shining. And I kept that glass clean. And still to this day, I polish my mirror every morning. And from those words of wisdom and through the responsibility that I learned and the possibility that was provided to me, I was able to be the minister in my daughter's wedding. The very daughter that was taken and removed from my life. I was able to baptize her and her husband. I was able to walk with my 3 grandsons and have the possibility to instill into them, right? Life principles, mirror principles. Remove the ignorance of prejudice in these 3 little boys. It's my job as a grandfather with a nice clean mirror to instill them a different direction. Sometimes some of us think it's too late. The world's going to hell. We can't communicate. I can't go to that side of town. You can't come to my side of town. You know what? That's preconceived rebellion going on in your own heart. My job is to instill in these little kids a new way, a new change. That's my glass. That's my glass. So the responsibility part is that each and every one of us have our own mirror. And we need to go to that mirror every day. We need to look in that mirror. And we need to look closely to say, who is that person staring back at me? Am I prejudiced? Do I hate? Is there a possibility for change? How am I leaving this morning? With a clean heart? Am I going to go inspire someone today? Or am I going to go use some ill-filled words? What's in my heart? That mirror will tell you the whole story. I'll leave you with this. When you get what you want in your struggle for self, and the world makes you king for a day, just go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what the man has to say. Man, Toastmasters.